I know we like to joke around and have a good time on this channel, but it is such a sad situation. R.I.P. to Medrick Burnett Jr. and to his family, friends, everybody involved. I deeply feel for you and have a ton of sympathy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great start to your week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, unfortunately, we got to talk about a not so good situation. Football's a dangerous game. We know that. But what we're going to talk about today, it really puts that into a whole new perspective. A main reason I'm even making this video in the first place is because nobody's talking about it and it needs more recognition. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It definitely hits home for me a little bit more than I'd say somebody else because this happened in northern Alabama. For those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, which is a shame, because if this happened at Alabama, Georgia, to anywhere, any just Power 4 school, or even the non-Power 5, people be talking about it. It'd be all over ESPN social media. But since it didn't happen there, a lot of people aren't talking about this, and maybe it's just me, maybe I am overreacting, but I feel like it's being suppressed. A college football player for the University of Alabama A&M, which is D1 by the way, in the SWAC conference, has passed away. How did he pass away, you may ask? Great question, my friend. I'd love to answer it. He suffered a head injury in a game in October. It happened on October 26th versus Alabama State University, which is also the Magic City Classic, which is a big deal in Alabama as well. He was in the hospital for roughly a month before the news was made official that he passed away, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But here is my biggest problem with this. I just found out about this about a week ago, and it first took place on October 26th. I know I sound like a broken record player, guys, but I keep going back to this. Why was this not talked about more? Were they hiding something? I have no idea, but all of it seems shady to me. And here's where things get weirder. So they released the news, a public statement that he passed away on Tuesday night. But then whoever announced that retracted the statement, and then ESPN sent out this alert. Alabama A&M says football player Medrick Burnett Jr., quote-unquote, remains alive after announcing earlier Wednesday, this happened on Wednesday, my apologies, I said Tuesday, that he had died. What? When I saw that, I had to do not even just a double take. It was like a quadruple take. I first found out about this when the news came out that he originally passed away. But then the new news came out stating, oh, no, he hasn't passed away. He's alive. So that was bizarre in its own right. And if you're confused by all this, he has officially now been announced as, I don't want to really say it, but he has passed away, unfortunately. And it was due to what happened in that game versus Alabama State. But let's rewind it a little bit. Here's what his sister posted on her GoFundMe. By the way, this GoFundMe is still active, so if you want to donate to it, all you got to type in is Medrick Burnett Jr. GoFundMe. It'll pop up. My name is, I hope I'm saying this correctly, Dominice. And my only baby brother, Medrick Burnett Jr., a.k.a. Medi, who plays college football for Alabama A&M, number 51, was playing in the Magic City game on October 26, 2024, and was severely injured after a head-on-head collision during the game. His 20th birthday was October 27th, which is just sad. Really sad. And one of the worst birthdays for us because he was in ICU and not doing well. He had several brain bleeds and swelling of the brain. He had to have a tube to drain to relieve the pressure, and after 2 days of severe pressure, we had to opt for a craniotomy, I believe that's how you say it, which was the last resort to help try to save his life. He needs and is going to need a lot of care. This was before he passed away, and all of his family lives out of state from where he is located, and they also need to be able to have housing to be there to support him in this journey. We do not know what lies ahead yet, but we need all the prayers, support, resources, and donations to help him and his family keep giving him a fighting chance to survive. And the remainder of this is just explaining where all the donations need to go, and she really didn't have to explain it. I mean, if you or a family member has went through something like this, it just costs a lot of money. But I do appreciate her taking the extra step and explaining where all the money is going to go. I watched a couple videos of some real doctors talking about this, and they actually explained it really well, and I'll try to do my best to explain it to you guys. And by the way, I believe his story is worth telling since nobody else is talking about it. So what happened with Medrick Burnett's Jr. brain, and I think his sister even touched on this in the GoFundMe, is it was swelling and it was building a lot of pressure within the skull. And why that is such a bad thing, and really a severe thing at that, is because your brain is in a confined space in that skull. There's not a lot of room for it to, like I said, swell. And when it's swelling a lot, like his was, that's when doctors have no chance but to perform the cranionectomy. And that is where these doctors start removing parts of the skull so the brain can actually, I guess you'd say, ooze through it. And according to all the reports and everything I've seen, that is what Medrick Burnett Jr. was dealing with. And to make a long story short, it's hard, man. It's tough for me even to talk about this. He couldn't overcome it. I know he liked to joke around and have a good time on this channel, but it is such a sad situation. And before we go any farther, just want to say RIP to Medrick Burnett Jr. and to his family, friends, everybody involved. I deeply feel for you and have a ton of sympathy. I hope things get better. It is such a terrible situation. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Please, enlighten me in the comment section. I want your honest opinion. Why do you think this hasn't been talked about more? Even your casual fans are going to know this name I'm about to spew out of my mouth. Damar Hamlin. This ain't no shade or disrespect to Damar Hamlin. I'm using him as an example. Remember what happened to him? He still to this day is a huge topic and conversation just because of what happened. When that happened, I was watching it live. That was the most talked about thing in just around my area, Northern Alabama, for weeks. And people down here don't even really care about the NFL like that. We care about college football. I can't imagine how big of a deal it was up north and all the cities actually care about the NFL. And here's the crazier part. Damar Hamlin survived. This young man, Medrick Burnett Jr., he passed away and it's not getting any recognition and it's not getting talked about. And I know what some of you may be sitting there saying, well, Matt, what are you trying to say? Are you wanting more people to talk about it? It's not necessarily that. It's more so if I'm baffled. Damar Hamlin turned into like an overnight celebrity. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just how it was. He pretty much is a household name at this point, and he didn't even pass away. Please do not take that the wrong way. I hope y'all understand where I'm trying to go with this. This young man lost his life because of a head injury in a college football game. We're not even talking about middle school or high school. A college football game, D1 at that. And it's not being talked about. And I got to bring it up because you're thinking it, I'm thinking it, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. You almost got to feel like the media, the people who run all this, they don't want it to get out there because it's a bad look for the sport. And it is. A guy losing his life because of arguably the greatest business in the world? Yeah, that is not a good look by any stretch of the imagination. I will say this, though. We know this is a possibility, and we know football is a dangerous game and sport. When you walk onto that field as a football player, you know what you're getting into. Granted, you don't expect to lose your life over the game, but you know it's a possibility, a very small one, but you should know that. With that being said, I want to address this, and I also want to make this clear. Do I think this should scare parents away from allowing their kids and young men to play football? Absolutely not. You ever seen Ghost Rider? What's that guy's name? Who's the Ghost Rider? I can't remember his real name, but in that movie, he says, you can't live in fear, and that's something I've always believed in. Oh, it just came back to me. It's Johnny Blaze. Yeah, Johnny Blaze, before he's about to make that insane jump, he says, you can't live in fear. Who played Johnny Blaze? Come on now. It's on the tip of my... Oh, yeah, Nicolas Cage. Anyways, like I was saying, you can't live in fear. People get in car wrecks every single day. Is that going to stop you from driving to the grocery store? No. All in all, it sucks. I did want to share this story, and according to his high school head coach, I'll just read off what he had to say in a comment section on TikTok. Medrick is absolutely worth remembering. I was his high school coach and can tell you he was a remarkable human being beyond football. He will be greatly missed. RIP to Mr. Medrick Burnett Jr. It always sucks to see someone a part of the college football community pass away, but it especially sucks when it's somebody close to where I reside at. By the way, shout out to the 256, and these videos are always awkward and hard for me to end because I don't want to end it on a sad note or a bad note, but it is a sad video and a sad situation. How about we do this? You let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll end this video off with a moment of silence.